Excellent. So you should be ready to go at 10:36 to call the order.
Okay, I'll call the meeting to order of the Board of Assessors on May 11th, 2023.
So you have the minutes from the April 27 meeting, open session and executive session. So
We have a motion to approve the minutes of the open session and the executive session.
I second the motion.
Make the motion, I'll second. Michael makes the motion, John seconds the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous vote.
okay.
I'm looking for my agenda.
Well, it's up on the screen.
Oh, there we go.
So we don't have any appellate tax cases to discuss.
Okay,
We have the results of the prior meeting. We had an application from Adam and Rachel Cole, 361 Hillcrest Road, that was submitted on April 21st, 2023, which is well past the February 1st deadline. The board has no jurisdiction over the application, and the board voted to deny. And that's from last time. General update, our posting to replace Karen's position went up today. So it's locally in the town's website, it's on a government employee website that they post on, it's going into the Mass Association Assessing Officers website, and hopefully we'll get some good candidates and we'll get moving on that.
Also, they didn't do internally first.
They didn't do it first. I questioned HR about that, and they said that the union contract requires that any current members that apply are considered first,
Okay, that's
but they don't post it. It's not that they have to post it internally and then externally. You can post it right away, but they get essentially preferential
got it.
consideration. So that's that. Scheduling. So if we could come up with, what I'd really super love for you to do is to come up with a day and time that we can rely on, so I can post ahead. The posting is, I've described, as always complicated because we have 3 or 4 different things to do.
Mike, would Thursdays at 9:30 work for you?
Generally speaking, yeah.
Okay, about, well, how many more I guess, because we're not we don't have a workload like,
Mhm.
select board planning, whatever, that have to meet all the time year round. We're somewhat of a seasonal cyclical
Mhm.
type meeting schedule. So I guess what I'd ask you is, let's do Thursdays 9:30, but I don't want to hold every Thursday for the
No,
entire year.
Just can't.
So just, right, but I also don't want to block it out every single week. I think because reasonably, as you indicated from the last meeting, that we're coming to the end of our cycle for dealing with the
Yep.
work of the Board of
Yep.
Assessors for this past tax season. So how many more Thursday meetings do you anticipate we would need right now, to schedule out?
Well, if you're satisfied with the background information, that you don't need us to help, describe the position and other things that you're working on or will be working on, if you're good with that, then
I think the state program will start giving us an awful lot of information,
yes.
correct?
Yes.
And that will likely give rise to additional questions or discussion that we'll want to have with one or both of you. I'd
Yeah,
say,
we can discuss that.
let us start
Yeah,
getting
listen,
into this.
What I'd suggest is, I suggested upstairs, Mike, here, is the denial letters will go out shortly. We'll get input from those, the people who want to come in and talk to the board.
Right,
And at that point, we can schedule a meeting with them,
can we schedule a meeting on Thursday mornings?
with the people.
Yes,
We've always in the past done it in the evening just for convenience of people who want to come in. And there's only gonna be 1, maybe 2 meetings, depending on how many people,
okay,
call. And it's not a high percent. We've never had more than 5 or 6.
okay. And
So
when do you reasonably anticipate that we would have set those 1 or 2, is it in the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days?
I will have to be earlier than 90 days, because they have to have time. If they don't like what you do, they have to have time to go to the appellate tax board and file there.
Okay,
So I'd say if Denials are out in 2 weeks. We'll give people a week to call,
Mhm.
and if nobody calls, and we set up the 2 you've got. One of them is waiting for the third member anyway,
Okay,
and that'd be it.
okay, then I mean, my
So-
schedule for evenings, then if we're looking at the evenings right now is. I'm
No,
not-
what I'm saying is, we'll schedule a meeting like this amongst ourselves
To then make
in
it
2
determine.
weeks or 3 weeks to see who's called and then decide what we
Gotcha,
want to.
okay, so we don't have to block anything out now.
No,
So why don't
block
we-
out one meeting
Why don't we do Thursdays at 9:30, going forward?
I would do it 3 weeks from now. 2
3
weeks to
weeks,
get the
okay.
things out and a week for people to respond,
Okay, so,
because there's really nothing to meet about.
The only conflict I have is Thursday, the 22nd.
Is that 3 weeks from now? That's next week.
no, that's
So
2
we're
weeks.
talking about,
That's
No,
May,
June.
June 22nd. Oh, that's like 6 weeks out.
so what's 3 weeks from
Third
today?
week would be June 1st.
3 weeks from today is June 1st?
Okay, so next meeting would be June 1st. At 9:30 here.
Okay.
And it's really just to, what I used to do was put stuff together for the board to review for people who want to come in.
Yeah.
Say, okay, here's their application, here's our rationale behind the
Yeah.
denial or the approval for X amount of dollars.
Is that done in open or executive?
That's, you get that before the meeting.
Okay.
So we're
okay,
not walking
okay.
into the meeting and saying, okay, what do we do with this guy?
Yeah.
So even when we set up the meeting, we
We're-
set up the,
We're recording right now.
Yes.
And anybody else on?
I don't believe so. Generally, what we want to do for the meetings themselves, I don't see anyone.
Okay,
For the meetings with the taxpayers is to allow them the opportunity to present any other information, for you to ask questions, but the decision still would be separate in the executive session separately. What the purpose of that is that after there's a decision, the taxpayer has 3 months to appeal to the appellate tax board. And there's fees and other, it gets complicated from there. So what we're doing is giving them the opportunity to essentially present that case to us to see if it makes sense.
okay,
If they are not happy with the decision that's made, then they can still appeal. And then they would have to present at a hearing at the appellate tax.
so in the, for not a good example, but one example is the one that we denied that was in the minutes from the last meeting at 361 Hillcrest. It was submitted after the deadline. Statute
Yeah.
covers that.
Yeah, they got
Okay,
that.
the one wasn't really a matter, our denying was simply a ministerial act
yes,
based upon
Yes.
the state
they
statute,
they had no
no
qualification
standing.
to file, no
Right.
standing to file, but somebody
Okay.
who did file January 2nd. But has gotten a denial and has called and said, I don't like it. Then they have plenty of standing.
Okay.
The only thing is, we can't run out the clock on them to have the option to go to the ATV.
No, should be. So,
One person that did say that they wanted to talk was, said that there was information that they'd submitted that they don't believe we considered.
okay,
So they want to discuss that in detail.
okay.
So it's that sort of thing that they really just
And
want.
so we would set up, so will they send, do you ask them to provide that information prior to setting up the meeting, or are they okay to come in, present?
That's usually what they do.
I would ask
And
them,
then what we would do is after they present it to us
Take
in
it
a
under
public
advisement.
meeting, we then go into executive session to discuss it,
Or have another meeting.
or have another
A week
meeting.
later.
Gotcha, okay,
yeah, and I do encourage them to submit information, although I have to say, experiences, very often they don't want to, they feel that, just presenting it as they hear is advantageous to them, so
okay,
very often they don't want to do that.
okay.
But
Then we
that's
would
okay.
get we'll have the original
Our
application.
original rationale for
Right.
the dispensation of that application.
Gotcha, okay.
Okay, so next thing would be. I don't know where it went, would be the. Process to get a third member, we have to do that interview process. So you would have to, there's 2 approaches, one being,
He's gonna do
I
it.
will reach out to the vice chair of the select board, who
Okay.
is Mr. Keen, to set up, interviews, depending upon how many applicants there are.
Okay,
I'm assuming I don't know whether they put it out, advertised it
I
yet,
don't know how they do.
or they
Yeah.
advertise it.
And I
They
won't
have
be
to.
part of it.
okay,
So the
so,
last time I was.
Well, you'll be part of it once we get to the joint board
Yeah,
meeting
right,
on a
right.
Tuesday
But
evening.
not the
select
first.
board. All right, fine, okay.
Okay.
So I'll
Well-
reach out to Kevin.
they'll advertise once you talk with Kevin and tell him what the process
Yeah.
is that you've decided on. You can also tell them how long you want to advertise, so generally 2 weeks or so is about what you want to do.
Yeah, I think, this is May 11th. The board's next meeting in June, or not the next meeting, but probably the likely meeting would be June 13th, which is Tuesday evening. So I would, if we can, this only gives us 4 weeks. It may or may not be enough time. It's possible that it will be the June 27th.
Okay, I just don't know what the process.
I'll reach out to the vice chair. It needs to be advertised. If it hasn't been advertised, it has to be advertised for 2 weeks. And then once it's advertised, they have to give a certain amount of time for people to respond. Usually it's 30 days. This isn't going to happen before June 27th. And possibly sliding into the select board meeting in July, and that's probably the 18th. But I'll speak with Kevin and sort of find out what their timeline is.
When was the last time this was done?
I don't know if we had any last year, probably 2 years ago. Oh, you mean last time somebody was replaced?
Yeah,
Vacancy appointment.
I don't know when Jay died. It's gotta be 10 years ago.
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well, nobody on the board's
15.
really gonna know.
What?
Jake, probably 15 years ago. 13.
He's
Okay,
dead.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I know, well, that's the reason.
Okay.
He's dead and we had to replace him.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we do is then, once we, Kevin and I have, we meet with the candidates that have responded. There'll be a joint meeting with the select board at their meeting on a Tuesday. Try to do it first thing up, where you and I would go, and so there'd be 7 voting members
Okay.
for the vacancy appointment. And the person can be sworn immediately.
So I have nothing else, no other topics not reasonably anticipated, we have no applications. So,
Do you want, so do we need to go into executive or?
No, we can just have an
Nothing.
informal conversation.
we have
You
nothing,
know, this is, not really even part of the. meeting.
I did bring, if we want to have been, I remember we were given the package the last time.
Yep.
Do you, any interest in, no, not at this time. Okay, then but I brought them today in case we're going to go
Okay.
through them again, but I can go through them with you at another time.
Okay,
oh, I just do want to say, I mean, I know you're looking at the course 101, the town is not certified to do valuations
that's what I tell them.
until you both complete the course. So it's
And that's the course 101.
the
only.
course
Right,
101.
actually, you have to complete one module.
I
Module
think
4,
there's-
the
I think
classification,
there's 2, I thought it was 0. and
maybe
4.
it's 0 and 4.
But
So wouldn't we just complete everything?
Yes, but they'll tell you, and this will be in the instruction, module 4 discusses what happens at the classification hearing. You're familiar with it, where the tax rate is actually set. It's a
Yep.
meeting between the Board of Selectmen or the Select Board and the assessors to set the tax rate. And if that particular module out of the 9 or 10 modules that are in there has not been completed by the majority of the board, then they cannot hold that meeting.
Okay,
So
just
they-
a
by
quick
December.
question. It's module 4. Is 4 built on the previous
No.
modules?
It-
It's a
it-
standalone.
It deals with the classification of properties. So
I didn't know if it
module
was with
4
Is the most important one.
right.
And I'm sorry, I could say too that, this classification hearing is not until November.
Yeah, you got,
Anyway, I mean, we have time,
November.
but
Yeah.
we really, the ideal would be to get this course done, because you really need the whole course to be done. to
Yeah.
Properly do the position.
Yeah, we just gotta, I'll log in, I'm working the rest of today, but I'll start getting into this.
Yeah.
Sunday could be,
It's
it's Mother's
perfect.
Day,
Oh, and one other
Did you
thing,
go to church?
No.
Oh, okay.
temple, no, no.
one,
No, we don't, do- no. No.
and one last thing is
Yes.
the, ethics training course,
Oh, right,
which is a new one. So if you haven't got the links, I will send you the link.
please send the links.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a little bit longer, but it's about 40 minutes total, I would say.
Okay, I took that. I've done
You
that
must
a
take it
million
multiple
times,
times.
It's a whole new one, actually. from the
So
one
it's
that-
based on assessors.
No,
No,
this is
no.
ethics in general.
It's-
Okay.
Ethics for
It's-
elected,
What if
elected
I
officials.
just took it?
If you just took it in the last month or so,
Mm,
What would you
no.
have taken it for?
Real estate,
Different
No,
ethics.
this is a completely
municipal.
different thing.
okay,
Municipal ethics.
yeah.
This is,
because I'm learning there's no ethics in real estate.
Oh,
yeah,
There is.
we know that.
Yeah.
Are you talking about use pack? Is that what you took?
It was through G-Bar.
Okay,
Oh,
'cause
yeah,
there's
no, this
something
is
called
true.
Uniform Standards of
Okay.
Professional Appraisal Practice,
Yeah,
which is
okay,
something assessors have to take at one point or other, even though it doesn't apply to us.
So, Chip, as I understand, so this link will get me to this link that you sent,
We'll get you to Gateway,
get me to Gateway. They will provide, put in the,
Jay Bolian as
okay.
username.
yep, and then. it will-
Linda should have sent you a password, though. You said you
she
got it,
sent me a password, but do I put in
What's Linda's
my
name?
username
Bradley.
incorrect? Is that the way she,
Put it in correctly, because she did put it in.
Yeah,
That's
She
my
fixed
point.
it. Yeah, she did fix it.
oh, she did fix
So you
it,
should put it in correctly, it should work.
put
And
it
if not,
incorrect,
put it-
not incorrectly.
Enter your name in a
Correctly.
proper manner.
What would she have sent it?
no, she messed up your, it was your email address.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think she
It's
fixed it.
10:52. We should probably adjourn to
Um,
let.
that would be
Melissa
good.
Get out.
That would be good.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
We're adjourned.
And let's stop the recording or end the meeting.